Welcome back to my channel. This is the Rational Gooner here, and thank you for joining me. And in this edition, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 goalkeepers for Arsenal during the Premier League era. I could do the all-time, but I started watching football in 1992, which is when the Premier League began. That was the season that I started to really get into football and fell in love with that Arsenal team that won the Coca-Cola Cup, which is now the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup double. Little did I know that 30-odd years later, we still haven't won the League Cup since, but there is a real chance this season, and on March the 22nd, we'll have a chance to get the third League Cup in our history. So on with this particular edition. As I said, this is my top 10 goalkeepers. It was an easier one than I'm going to have with other positions in the Arsenal team because there aren't an awful lot to choose from. And from the ones to choose from, there aren't an awful lot of ones that I would put in a top 10 of all time in the Premier League, as you can probably understand. There are a few honourable mentions after I've named my top 10, which I'll go through with you as well, because I do feel that there are some goalkeepers that do need their flowers that didn't make that top 10. But for now, let's get on with this edition. My number 10 goalkeeper, and this will surprise quite a few Gooners because of what's happened since he's left the club, but my number 10 is Emiliano Martinez. The reason I've picked him at that role, I can't put him any higher, mainly because he's really not been a particularly savoury character since he's left Arsenal. Whenever he comes to the Emirates, he becomes the pantomime villain. A lot of Arsenal fans still have bad blood with him because of his antics in games that we've been playing against Aston Villa since he's left. That being said, he was still our goalkeeper that helped us through a very difficult period when there was a transition between managers, Unai Emery, who he now is working under again, and Mikel Arteta. And when Arteta came in, he was his cup goalkeeper and he won us the FA Cup after we beat Chelsea in the final in 2020. So he does deserve to be in this top 10 in my opinion, and I think it's merited. So number 10, Emiliano Martinez. Number 9 is going to be David Ospina. The only reason I'm putting him in this particular top 10 is because of the fantastic chant that we used to shout from all ends of the ground whenever he would step up to take a goal kick. I'm not going to do it on the podcast because I'm not going to embarrass myself, but I'm pretty sure that all real Gooners know exactly what I'm talking about. He also was quite an agile goalkeeper. He was pretty safe and his handling was good. There was a question mark over whether he was good enough with the ball at his feet, but you know, that's quite a modern thing, and I don't think that you can judge goalkeepers on their use of their feet in particular eras, which I will get to a bit further on in this top 10. So David Ospina is my number 9. Number 8, I've gone for Bernd Leno. Again, a goalkeeper that came in when we were in transition. He was brought in by Arsene Wenger and he served us very well in the period that he was with the club. He was generally liked by the fans and his teammates, but he was actually the main reason why Martinez left the club, because Arteta made it very clear that Bernd Leno was his number 1 after that successful FA Cup winning season. He had the potential to go higher on this list had he stayed at the club for longer, and he's doing very well with his current team, Fulham. No danger of them getting relegated this season, and they are pushing for top half finish. So that's my number 8. Let's go for number 7 now. I've gone for Lucas Fabianski. Another player that a lot of Arsenal fans kind of got on the back of when he was at the club. He did tend to flap at a lot of crosses. That was his weakness when he did play for us. But I do think that he made some outstanding saves. He was also the goalkeeper for our 2014 FA Cup winning campaign, saving penalties in the semi-final against Wigan. He did concede 2 in the final against Hull, but we can forgive him as we won the cup, and that was the season that he left for pastures new. But I think he's a worthy addition to this top 10. So my number 6 is Petr Cech. Really fantastic goalkeeper in his time. I do feel like Chelsea squeezed every last bit of quality out of him before he came to Arsenal. His kicking wasn't particularly great, and he used to spunk the ball out of play quite a lot. But you can't deny his shot stopping, his positioning, his commanding presence when it came to set pieces and crosses. He was just the complete package of a goalkeeper. It's just a shame that he didn't play for us during his more peak years. He was always a good goalkeeper, and when he came to us, he still had a bit left in the tank. It's unfortunate that Arsenal have a league goalkeeper and an FA Cup goalkeeper, as he was an unused sub in the 2017 FA Cup final, where David Ospina was in goal when we beat Chelsea 2-1. He was still a better goalkeeper than David Ospina for us during the time that he was at the club. So that warrants him being at number 6 in my list. Now we get to the top 5. These are my ultimate goalkeepers for Arsenal. There are some very obvious inclusions in this one. I've put Aaron Ramsdale at number 5. I think that that's a deserved position for him. He was a fantastic goalkeeper for us during the period that he was with us, which was for 3 years. He won his place ahead of Bernd Leno, which forced Leno out of the club. But he lost his place ultimately to what turned out to be a better goalkeeper. But at the time, we didn't realise that. And when he did lose his place, there was a lot of disgruntled Arsenal fans, maybe more confused than disgruntled, but a lot of us were wondering why such a great young English goalkeeper that was playing so well for us suddenly was frozen out of the team. For most Arsenal fans, I would expect they would put Aaron Ramsdale in their top 5 for Premier League goalkeepers, and for that reason, that's why I've put him there. My number 4 is probably going to surprise quite a few of you, but he was there for 8 years and he won 2 FA Cups with us, even though he didn't play in one of those finals. I'm going to put Wojciech Szczesny at number 4. As I said, 8 years at the club, a really good servant, very controversial at times, but safe hands, decent with the ball at his feet, much liked by the rest of the dressing room. He was quite a character, and his challenge on Harry Kane in that North London derby at White Hart Lane alone is worth putting him on this list. Why I've put him so high up? Again, long servant of the club, never really did much wrong whilst he was there, was prone to the odd error, but overall quite a decent servant for the club and worthy of being above what I've said previously. Now for the top 3. I think you could probably work out who my top 3 is. You might not agree with the positioning of each of these goalkeepers, but this is my top 3. Please, if you disagree with me, absolutely happy to have that conversation in the comments. My number 3 is David Raya. David Raya has been a revelation since joining from Brentford. He is our current number 1. On more than one occasion, he's been mentioned in that bracket of best goalkeepers in the world. Definitely one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League and in Europe. He's so solid in all departments. He is prone to the odd mistake again, just like Szczesny. I think it's usually with the ball at his feet that he's prone to mistakes, but also law of averages. When you play out from the back so often, as Arsenal do, there are going to be mistakes. They are human. Their wages suggest that they shouldn't make mistakes, but as I said, they are human. I honestly think that he will be our number 1 for a good many years unless something drastic happens between now and the foreseeable future. David Ospina, very much top 3 goalkeeper in my list. Number 2 then is Jens Lehmann. Jens Lehmann is our invincible goalkeeper. He was our keeper in 2003-04 season when we went the whole season unbeaten. I do feel like a lot of rival fans are quite harsh when it comes to that season, trying to discredit it, saying that we drew a lot of games. We won 26 games that season out of 38. And although we drew the other 12, that just means that we were unbeatable in the Premier League that season. There were a few close calls. I seem to remember a missed penalty at Old Trafford in the dying minutes from Ruud van Nistelrooy that sparked the famous Martin Keown antics at the full-time whistle. But overall, Jens Lehmann, I mean, he didn't just win the Premier League with us. He won the FA Cup the season later in 2005. And then the following season in the Champions League, he was instrumental in getting us to that final. It's a shame that he got sent off in that final, but that penalty save against Riquelme of Villarreal in the semi-finals was a wonderful moment for him. and for Arsenal Football Club history. It's a shame it didn't go our way in the final, but Jens Lehmann is definitely my number 2 in my top 10. So number 1 then is an obvious one, and I think you're all going to be screaming at your devices on this one if I didn't say David Seaman. David Seaman is, in my opinion, one of the greatest goalkeepers England has ever produced. He is one of the greatest goalkeepers Arsenal have ever fielded, and I think he probably is in the conversation for greatest of all time. I know there's names like Pat Jennings and Bob Wilson that get thrown around. I wasn't around when they were playing. David Seaman is my hero. I was a goalkeeper through a lot of my playing days, and David Seaman was an inspiration for me. The save against Sheffield United in his later years, in the early 2000s in that FA Cup semi-final, was just inspiring. But he was there for 2 double-winning campaigns in 1998 and 2002. He was England's number 1 throughout the entire time that he played for Arsenal when he joined from QPR. He's just an amazing person as well as goalkeeper, but this is to do with just goalkeeping, and David Seaman had it all. You know, he did make a couple of mistakes. All goalkeepers make mistakes, but he was such a big presence at the back. He was part of that back 5 that just conceded no goals really. Arsenal were just the old 1-0 to the Arsenal routine. And David Seaman was the final line of defence in that superb back 5. And I don't think I'm going to name any of the others in that, because I'm going to do some top 10s for defenders, possibly a top 10 for right backs, possibly a top 10 for left backs, and then centre backs, so that we can get as many names in there as we possibly can and start that conversation. And right at the end, I'll probably do an all-time Premier League Arsenal 11. It's going to be obvious for some of those names, especially in the attacking positions. But David Seaman is my number 1 in the list. Do comment if you disagree, and also comment if you agree. It's nice to get into a conversation with you. It'd be nice to hear the debate. There are some honourable mentions I will throw out there. Difficult one for us, because goalkeeping is... You have to be really insane to be a goalkeeper. You've got to be just a little bit crazy. And there were some crazy characters that played for Arsenal down the years. We had characters like Manuel Almunia, for instance. I can remember a match of the day when we were away to West Brom, where you had West Brom attacking and a long ball came over the top, and they freeze-framed that moment where Alan Hansen said, "The last thing you want to see in the picture right now is your goalkeeper." And there he was, Manuel Almunia, came out, tried to clean everyone out, and the ball went in the back of the net. He was a very erratic goalkeeper, and he didn't make the top 10. I do feel like he was a good servant to the club. He was captain at one point for us, deputising for Fabregas. But I think he was a bit handicapped by the period that he played for us, where we just moved into the Emirates Stadium, and the squad wasn't the priority. The priority was paying off the stadium, and it was amazing that Arsene Wenger was able to keep us in that top 4 for as long as he did, and competing at the highest level, even though trophies were at a premium. But Almunia does deserve an honourable mention. Other goalkeepers I will put into the list would be Alex Meninga and Vito Minoni. Good deputies, never really made it as number 1 goalkeepers, but they certainly put themselves into contention and deputised astutely when our goalkeepers were injured. David Seaman was out injured for the remainder of the 1998 double-winning season, and Alex Meninga came in and he was superb and kept us in a lot of games where there were fine margins. I can remember away at Wimbledon and away at Bolton where, you know, we scraped wins. Big presence was Alex Meninga, and Vito Minoni as well. I think he never really put a foot wrong when he played for us. The only problem was he hadn't found his level, I don't think. It was the same with Almunia. As soon as Almunia left the club, he joined Watford and played in the Championship for them, and that's probably his level. More recently, some honourable mentions. Kepa, fantastic for us this season. He's been a great cup goalkeeper, but absolutely not a top 10 keeper for Arsenal. Could end up being that if he stays at the club for long enough. He's played for some very big teams across Europe, including Real Madrid and Chelsea. So we know his pedigree, and I feel safe when he's in goal for us in the cup games, and he hasn't done particularly much wrong. So he deserves a mention. Another one that I thought had a real potential when he joined was Richard Wright. He played a few games for us and then got moved on. I think he joined around the same time that Francis Jeffers joined as well. But unfortunately, he didn't cut the mustard for Arsenal. Too many mistakes and too many big mistakes, which cost us in games. But he was a good goalkeeper, and he deserves an honourable mention here. Let me know how you feel in the comments, if I've missed anyone, or if you feel that somebody should be added that was in my honourable mentions list at the expense of one of the top 10 that I've given. Put it in the comments section, start that debate. That's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content so far. I will be putting a lot more content out there in the coming weeks and hopefully years as I build this channel and get more and more people aware of it and start the conversations that proper Gooners should be having, rather than getting involved in all the noise and all that outside stuff that really doesn't matter at all, and it just adds to the anxieties that Arsenal fans really shouldn't be feeling right now. I just want to spread the love, spread the goodwill, keep going. It's not all bad, and obviously on the pitch it's fantastic at the moment. What a win last night. It's a great time to be an Arsenal fan. Say it loud, say it proud. Thanks again, and I'll see you again.